Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. With OpTic Texas's roster confirmed here for Major 2, Leaksy has been released from his cage, and that means we get all the juicy insight into what's been going down over the last couple of weeks. Some really interesting things in here. Not only Scump wanting Formal to return briefly to the starting roster, but also exactly why Dashy was removed and what the future might be there. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. So much great support over the last few days. And well, hopefully it won't slow down at all because there's still plenty to go on. Firstly, the challengers side, obviously, well, we thought maybe briefly there was going to be one of the challengers players picked up by the OpTic team before, as Shotzzy goes on to describe, he didn't even really know who Beans was. Quickly on the Challengers Cups though, because last night in the European side, there was this tournament that concluded. This is a remarkable screenshot. I've never seen anything like this. With Mr. Weeman, who's been a player that's been around for some time, going 1 in 19 in a game of Control. Like, Doug has nothing on this guy. This is unbelievable. Like, we saw Doug drop 4, I think, maybe in a scrim or something a little while ago. This is in a tournament game in a Control, and in fairness, it's Fortress. You can get torched on the offense, but like, still, 1 kill, man. The breadstick and respawn is unbelievable. I've never seen the like. Doug is definitely thinking, damn, how am I going to top this guy? Impressive stuff. The crazy thing is, they won the tourney. They might have lost this map, but it went game 7, and this F-Dot guy as well is one of the people that's been making waves in the European region, so definitely a name to keep out for. But in the end, and they were trying to beef me here for some reason, but they did win the tournament, so fair play. Congratulations to these fellas, Maple and co. And, you know, here we go for Weeman as well. Dropped a breadstick and a respawn. That's seriously impressive, but they still won the cup, so congratulations to all involved. Interesting team up with Methodz there, kind of mix of nationalities. Eric Boom as well. Spanish guys mixed up with, you know, Maple and Weeman, but they got the job done. And Knowlton coaching now, so that's pretty cool to see as well. And in the North American side, arguably an even crazier story was Parasite in his first Challenger Cup back to competing, wins the whole thing. Obviously, everyone who's been around knows how good Haggy was when he was a player, and now he's obviously done the, well, tried to do the coaching thing, now returning to competing, and straight up just wins the first Challenger Cup with Johnny Fire. And Jimbo has rebranded to Lau, or however he's pronouncing it. But yeah, still, basically Parasite comes in with 3 former Paris Legion members and wins the first cup that he plays in. So really impressive stuff, and he does kind of quote tweet some stats here in a second. He was doing the flank and doing the Challengers Cup at the same time. Super impressive, and I don't know, like, Parasite's a great player. I just think that the burned bridges have obviously held him back. Everyone knows that. But, you know, there might be a world in which Parasite, as a result of this, people think, damn, this guy's actually just unbelievable. Like, I hope some teams got to give him a spot as a coach at some point. But maybe he's just having a lot of fun playing Challengers right now. And even he quote tweets the stats from the series, where we can see that it's Fire 40, who obviously, you know, okay, he's no longer going by Fire 40, he's just Fire nowadays. But he dropped a 1.32 in the finals of this series. So it'd be really cool if there's a nice Fire 40 redemption arc still coming alive. And even we saw in 8, as we'll discuss later today, like the likes of Capstan and stuff also frying in those kind of matches. So, you know, lots of these guys that were in the league, hopefully they'll get another shot. It's just tough as it stands now. Let's talk about the OpTic stuff then. So Zia reunited. OpTic Huke, of course, confirmed yesterday joining Scump, Shotzzy and iLLeY to round out the roster. Certainly a surprise to some people in terms of iLLeY staying on the team in that main AR role, but Shotzzy is going to reveal all over the coming minutes. Now, they haven't got Pred, at least haven't got Pred yet. As I said yesterday, there is still a chance possibly down the line, if this Huke thing doesn't work out, that Pred could still get got over the coming months. But it seems OpTic are certainly confident this will be their team going forwards, and these stats I thought were quite remarkable. Now, in fairness, this trio was together during the Modern Warfare season. That season, in terms of, it was a bit different in terms of format, right? Some of these events only had 8 teams, most of them did, such that, you know, they always made the Sunday there. They always were there on the Grand Finals, or on the Grand Finals day. The worst placing they ever had that Dallas Empire team was top 4, which is kind of incredible, really. And even going into Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, when Huke was around for stage and a bit, they placed second that event, right? So, you know, honestly, 6 finals appearances in 11 events, 4 championships between them, 2020 world champions, is you know, not too bad at all. And yes, part of that was with Crim and Clay, but as a trio, they certainly do have quite the reputation, right, in what they've achieved in a fair few events together over a couple of different titles. And immediately after teaming again, Shotzzy was singing the praises of Huke, and, you know, just the pace they had on the map was way better than they were having in the previous iteration. Now, Shotzzy was on stream, of course, talking everything, and this is just the thing about this guy. I think he even mentioned it, there was like, if I had streamed, I would have leaked stuff, no doubt about it. He was like, he just can't control himself. Now, I'm pretty sure he's baiting it that Pred's Spart being $2 million. Highly doubt that was the case. He's probably over-egging it, but it probably wasn't like too far away in terms of, I don't know, I was speculating 500k, no idea what it actually was, but yeah, probably that wasn't fully true. But he was on stream last night talking everything, and I'll share a couple of clips for you guys here. Firstly, about what's gone on with the OpTic team, what they were thinking about with Pred, what other options they had on the table. well, but also precisely why Dashy was the one to go, because many would say, look, putting Scump on the flex makes sense, bringing in another SMG to partner Shotzzy, as in Huke, makes a perfect bit of sense as well, but the AR role with iLLeY instead of Dashy, that's a bit of a question, and he says outright indeed, as we'll see in a second here, that iLLeY was always going to stay, he was never going to go anywhere, and Dashy was always going to be the one to make way, and pretty much regardless of what happened at Major 1, they were going to look to make a move.
Bro, listen, dude, something needed to be changed, bro. This is the best way to put it. Like, something needed to be changed. I'm sure if I asked, I mean, even Brandon himself, I'm sure if I asked him, like, if I asked him, like, yo, did we feel as a team? He definitely would have said no. Like, bro, we deadass did not feel like a team. It felt like we were getting out every day, like, just going through the motions. Like, every single one of us. I'm not just kind of, like, saying Brandon. I'm saying every single one of us. You know what I mean? And, like, whenever you're in an environment like that, like, bro, something just needs to change. Why put iLLeY on the main instead of keeping Dashy? Like I said, there needed to be a change, bro. I mean, I don't know. I always feel like that Inder's always been a main. So Brandon is just on the bench currently. Would he be your substitute? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's our substitute, right? Any bad blood? No, I don't think so. I like Brandon, bro. Like, I like Brandon. Like, I don't think there is any bad blood. I mean, we talked about it. Like, we had a conversation about, like, the situation. I don't know. I don't think there's bad blood. At least I don't. But, like, obviously, you know, I feel like there is, like, some sort of just because, like, I don't know. It's just the way that you look at it. Or it's the way that he looks at it, I guess. All right, I will say this. All right. So whenever, bro, and whoever the leaks are, dude, I'm sorry, bro, but you guys are ass. Because for one, whenever we try, like, there was a rumor saying, like, we're trying to go for Pred and Alec or whatever, right? And at first, we weren't even trying to go for Pred originally. Like, obviously we'd want him, but, like, we didn't even go for Pred because of the fact that, like, we just thought that, like, that would never happen, right? There's one. Two, yeah, we tried getting out, like, obviously that, you know, didn't happen, and then from there, we were like, I mean, bro, we might just have to long shot it and just go for Pred. I brought up Pred, so, like, if we did end up getting him, it would have been on me. Well, not on me, obviously, but I'm saying it would have been my idea. Or, everyone obviously wanted him, but, like, I would have been, like, the culprit, you know what I mean? Is that the right word? Was it changed based on Major 1? No. If we got top 6, I'm pretty sure the team would have thought the same. If we got top 4, I'm sure we would have thought the same. Maybe if we got in that top 3, like, I mean, nah, definitely we would have, like, I don't even know at that point. It all depends, like, on how it went down, I guess. But, nah, like, bro, I mean, leading up to that, dude, like, bro, I'm telling you, dude, we were not on the same page, like, at all. We just didn't feel like a team, bro. Like,
he also mentioned here, actually, as Paul points out, that they did play a scrim that day, right, as we kind of saw leaked yesterday that they were playing it, and that they beat a team with no specific name 6-2. So their first day already going well, and he reckons a large part of that is down to pace. Now, Doc, the absolute goat of doing stuff like this, puts together all the details. Of course, I can't share with you guys the entire, like, length of time, so we'll just break it down into some of the key details. Firstly, what we saw earlier on with Arcitys, they wanted Arcitys. They never even wanted Pred initially, apparently, but then they were like, actually, hang on a second, can we get Pred? Might as well try. So they tried, there was a 10-day negotiation, it eventually fell through. They even looked at Clay and Karma, or like, they looked at Clay, which I think makes sense. They didn't go after Karma though, because it was too risky, which I think makes sense, obviously. But Formal, they thought about, this is just hilarious to me, right, that Scump was like, you know what, guys, what if we get Matt back? You know, he wanted the TTP to reunite. Makes sense for Scump in a way, right, final year, maybe bring Formal back, but, you know, would Formal have ever gone for it, to be honest, right? He's playing Halo now, he's got events soon. Seems unlikely, but Scump was apparently suggesting Formal, which I thought was kind of funny. Also goes on to say the SMG kind of duoship and chemistry that Shotzzy and Huke have is already fantastic. They've seemingly already hit that stride they had a couple of years ago back again, which is obviously going to be a positive sign. He talks also about the narrative about Scump playing a bit too slow for Shotzzy, and it says it's not true. Seth is not a fast nor a slow player, he's in the middle, but their pacing on the entire team was a problem, so maybe bringing Huke in, putting Scump to the SMG, or putting Scump to the flex, sorry, is still the way to go. And this is the Dashy stuff, right? So yeah, this is the thing with Dashy. It's a tricky one for him. We'll talk later today what he might do and kind of how he's responded to some of these discussions around him over the last couple of years in general. But saying that, look, Dashy wasn't a bad teammate, but the environment was not healthy. It's kind of strange in a way because he said pretty much outright that leading up to Major 1, they didn't feel like a team. Like it just wasn't the environment wasn't good. And it's like, well, you know, it's not exactly a surprise. You drop the guys and then you try and bring them back again. And a lot of the community said that that wasn't going to work from a chemistry perspective. I know Shotzzy went on to say that, like, oh, you know, that wasn't ever going to affect things. But it's like, well, it clearly did affect things. And the environment was clearly terrible leading up to Major 1. Something had to give. And Dashy out was pretty much the inevitability at that point, given he said they were never going to drop Inda. Inda saw the leaks about the two-man change on Twitter, asked them about it, and he said, no, like, no way they're going to drop iLLeY. So, yeah, apparently that seems to confirm, like, iLLeY's obviously doing something right. I know that a lot of the community says, damn, this iLLeY guy's a burger, like, doesn't get any kills, but clearly after surviving, and not exactly surviving, but there's been so many teams he's been a part of, you know, Dallas Empire, the changes they made in Cold War, and other things as well, like, he's survived all these changes, and there's obviously a good reason why, like, with what he brings to the team, and with Rambo respecting him right, and all this type of stuff. So, and even Shotzzy went on to say that iLLeY kind of fits that main AR role kind of well. He says that, okay, maybe Dashy could return in the future, but unlikely. Obviously, I shared that clip with you guys about the bad blood. Before we get to that, though, I did want to mention, because as he says here, they weren't going to drop iLLeY anyway, but then it's like they did kind of drop him in the off-season. So what's going on there? He actually talks on that and says iLLeY was dropped in the off-season for something he had done during the season, and it wasn't about their health, it wasn't about his thumb, right? It was something else during the season. So I feel like if it was a playstyle thing, he would have stated it. When they talked to India about it and explained that was why he got dropped, he fully understood and said they were right to drop him. So really interesting sentence, to be honest here. I don't know what this refers to. I don't want to speculate too much, although I will say that you guys might remember a video I did a little bit ago where Temp was making some interesting accusations against iLLeY. That might be involved, might not be involved, who knows. But just wanted to give some context. He also kind of talks about why Huke got dropped and says it was really Crim's fault, and Shotzzy feels like a bad teammate for not standing up to Crim at the time. Says the roster change here was a team decision. Talks about the map count that we looked at, and also talks about the bad blood between him and Dashy. Says that from his side, you know, there's no bad blood towards Dashy. We saw that in the clip, but, you know, he kind of implied towards the end that Dashy's obviously not going to be happy. It makes sense, right? I mean, look, if you're Dashy, you've been on OpTic, you love OpTic, you've been dropped from the team for various different reasons, you're not going to be happy at the guys that got you dropped. So let's be honest here, even if down the line there's no bad blood, like, obviously Dashy, whenever he plays them next, whatever team he happens to be on, is going to want to beat them pretty bad. He does also go into comment here about the FaZe thing, because we know there was that rumor, right, that he was going to join FaZe in the off-season. Apparently that was true, but it wasn't necessarily that he wanted to leave OpTic. It was more that Dashy had been dropped, iLLeY had been dropped, Scump was going to retire, basically. So Shotzzy was like, well, do I stay here and build a new team, or do I go and just join Simp, aBeZy, and Cellium on FaZe? Like, that's a bit of a no-brainer, surely, right? In the end, Scump then returned, and Shotzzy kind of got him to come back effectively, and then iLLeY came back, and then they thought, you know what, let's get Dashy back as well. So, I mean, yeah, in the end, it's kind of worked out in OpTic's favour here, but it's like, I can understand why that was such a stressful time for the OpTic guys behind the scenes, and even Rambo was saying it was stressful because there was a chance that their entire team was gone. Scump might have retired, Shotzzy might have gone to FaZe, and they might have had to build an entirely new team for the ground up, with iLLeY and Dashy getting dropped. So that's an absolute madness. But yeah, and also I just thought it was kind of funny that Formal was potentially going to get involved here as well. So that's basically everything that Shotzzy or Leaksy got us to know on stream over the last few hours or so. All the details, especially with regard to Dashy, I find quite interesting that the team chemistry was kind of just shot and like something just had to give, and that's why Dashy was the one to make way. But obviously there was a reason why Dashy individually was the one to make way, and it kind of feels like a lot of that OpTic identity is now gone, and the team is basically just Dallas Empire again plus Scump, with of course the coaching staff and Zio back there as well. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.